Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of my Discord.js bot development series. In this episode, I'm going to be going over a more of an efficient command handler that can be scaled much better than the previous command handler that is more of a basic command handler. Now, this is the basic command handler that we went over in the previous episode. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't use this command handler, but this is better for smaller projects where you can just put a couple of commands here in the message event and go on from there. But if you're doing a lot more in your commands, then you're going to want to use a command handler, because things can get really messy if you don't use a command handler, especially here in your main file. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to leave this all in the message event here, but we're going to scroll up and we're going to start by requiring a new package that I mentioned in the previous episode, and that is the FS package. And this is already pre-installed with Discord.js, so all you have to do is require it. Const fs equals require fs. Now fs stands for file system, and this npm, this node package, allows you to interact with the file system on the machine that the bot's running, so in this case on my computer. So once you have fs required, you're going to want to go ahead and create a new folder in your bot folder called commands. And this folder is where you're going to put all new commands. So once you create that folder, the bot is going to need to be able to access that folder, or this is not going to work. So the first thing you want to do before we even continue off fs, there's one more thing we need, and that is the npm package nmap. And I will actually pull that up for you right now. So nmap is short for enhanced maps, and it explains here, enhanced maps are a data structure that can be used to store data in memory that can also be saved in the database behind the scenes. And it's actually really useful if you're just starting out and you kind of want to mess with databases but don't want to get too crazy. And even though I don't use nmap with a database with most of my bots, I still use it in the specific case of setting up a command handler. And that's what we're going to use it for today. But we actually will be using nmap more in the future and using the persistence side of the package. But you can read more on the FAQ page. I will link nmap in the description. But if you are curious on learning more about nmap, you can check the description as well as the homepage for nmap, which is built by EV Codes. If you've been doing Discord.js for a while, you might be familiar with EV Codes. But this is where you can access nmap. So we're going to go ahead and install nmap. And as always, you can do npmi or npm install nmap. And while that's installing, we're going to go ahead and require it, and I'll show you how to start things up. So first, we're going to require it. And it's done installing. So now nmap is required. Actually, I'm going to do uppercase E in this case. So we're going to create a new nmap here called client.commands. So I'm going to make it right below here. Client.command equals new nmap. And this creates a new nmap. Now, if you're not familiar with maps or anything like that, I would definitely check more about that out. But nmap, again, is a great way to just get started out with the basics and such. Give me a moment, guys, while I figure out why this is not working. I know why this is not working. Because you're not supposed to assign a variable to this. It's just client.commands. So you're going to want to type in client.commands, and then you're going to instantiate new nmap. And this is the first thing that you're going to do. And the second thing is, since we create the commands folder, we're going to have to access that folder. So we're going to do fs.read dir, and you'll pass the directory or the path through here. We're not going to go into any of the advanced options here, but if in your case you need to use these options, you can. And I will leave documentation in the description on how to use fs, but again, we're not going to use any of the advanced options here. So here when you get to the directory, and make sure you put one dot in front of it, then the forward slash, and then the back slash, the trailing slash. And this will probably read the directory here in the bot folder. Then to put a comma, and in the parentheses we're going to pass through parameters. Since this is a function, I'm actually going to make it async, just so I don't have any issues with each file being read. So you're going to pass through the parameters through this function, and then start the function. So the first thing is make sure that you get an error if there is error. Next, you're going to want to access each file in this directory. So in this case, we're going to use for each. And for each performs a certain action for each element in an array. So if you're not sure what for each is, you can see it here. I'll link more information about for each in the description from the Mozilla MDN docs. And the function, the parameter that we're going to pass through is file. Next, we need to check if there's a file that isn't ending with .js, we need to ignore that file. So a file that ends with .js return. Now let props equals require commands file. I actually forgot to do backticks for this. So prop stands for properties. Properties of a object, for example, you'll have different props in here. Change that to file. You saw this typo. This is supposed to be file, not files. So I'm going to show you an example of what the props look like, but you need to make sure you assign the variable to this. Then the command name. So let's cmd name and get the file name dot split and to split by the dot. And then it's going to split from the first element in the array. So a file name being ban.js. It will split it. So it's ban, then JS, and then it removes JS. So you just have ban as the command name. So that's how that works. So since you have the props and the command name, we're going to log the name of each command just to make sure that all the commands are loaded properly. This is useful. If you know a command doesn't load, you can see what commands did load, what commands didn't load. It can be useful for debugging processes, but I just leave it here in general just so I can check logs if something went wrong. Now, here is where we will use the nmap. So here we're going to set the key in the map, the nmap, enhanced map. So we can do .set, which is in nmap. I will show you, but over here in the usage documentation and basic use, you can see how you can write data to the nmap, you can retrieve data from the nmap using set and get. So I'll show you some more examples here, but again, I'll link the nmap documentation in the description so you can read more about that. But that's what set is for. Then first we're going to want to set the command name, cmd name, and then the props. Now, as I said before, in an object you can have different properties, or any sort of other type of array, you can have different properties. So not only are you having the name, but you can also have a description, the usage, if it's guild only or not, if you need a certain permission level. Those are different properties that you can assign. Now I'll show you what this looks like once you get like the command name from an nmap. So that's all you need to get started with getting the directory actually. And the next thing you need to do is we need to head over to the message event. I'm gonna comment this all out for now, but we will be using that again. So right under here, we're gonna define a new variable called cmd, and this will be the command that is in the nmap. So like I just showed you a glance of, to get a key in nmap, you'll do client.command, so that's the nmap, and then not get, as in command, the command name. So just like we had, it'll get ping from the command in the command folder. It'll get my name, etc. And then next, we can actually do this. So I showed you before, if we did like if not a command, not return, this is not a command. Well, we can do that here. So if not a command, return, you can return nothing, you can do nothing, or you can supply a message that lets the sender know that it's not a valid command. But I just like to leave it blank so it returns nothing, because this can also get confused. Like if they have one prefix, one bot has the same prefix as yours, and it can get mixed up, kind of confused. So that's why I just do return. So here in the message event, you're adding this because you want the message event to be able to read that command and the command to be able to run in that file. And lastly, you're going to make sure that command runs, and you're going to pass some parameters through here. So cmd.run, you're going to pass a few parameters. The first one being client, so you can access the discord.js library, other methods. Then you're going to pass through the message event. The name of the message event here is message, so you're going to pass through that. And then you're going to pass through arguments, so that you can use arguments just like I used here in the say command. You can use it in this message. So this is how you set up this command handler using the FS module. And before we start with the bot, we're going to add our first command. And the command name is going to be ping.js. Now in this specific case, the file name must be the name of the command that you're going to use. So if you put this as ping, but let's say you add an extra p and you try and do ping, it's not going to work. But here, once you're in the command file, it's pretty easy to get started. So exports.run. This is using modules, which I will talk a little bit about, but also leave more documentation in the description, since there's a lot more to explain there about JavaScript modules. If you've been doing JavaScript for a bit now, you probably have already used modules and should be a little bit familiar. But modules are a great way to use code in multiple different locations without copying and pasting. So back to this, as you in the message event, every time a command is ran, it runs client message and args. So you're going to want to export this. Export client message args here in the ping command. And you're also going to do exports.help. Then you need to put the name of the command. And you must have this in every single command file in your commands folder, or your bot will not run. You must have this exports here. This is the props. So if you saw here in the FS function, this is the props. And the props can be whatever, so props.help, it can be props.conf, whatever, but in this case, I'm just going to call it props.help. So if you want this, just like before, to return pong, you can do message.channel.send, and do pong. What I also like to do is just catching the errors. So you actually do this, constant.error. And if there's an issue with the command running here in this file, you can look in console and see, okay, what's going on here? Let's go ahead and start the bot and see what we have going on here. So load the command ping, and then it logs in the bot, just like that. So like we had before, with the first command handler that we set up, we can do ping and it'll return a pong. And you can have like a bunch of different command files here in your commands folder, but it won't interfere at all. Next, I will show you how to use args. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste over the say command. Say.js. Same way as we did it in the ping command. Export star run. You're going to pass through client, message, and args as a parameter. And then export the properties, the props. Name say. There was something I was going to, oh yeah. So for these properties, for example, like the message event, you don't have to type out message. You can shorten it and do message instead, or however you want. Just make sure the name of this property matches with the message event that you export. It matches here in the code, like message.author, and also you export correctly here, or you'll have issues. So since we export the args, okay, so since we export the args, we can define the args here. So just like the args was here in the message event, my name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
It will be the same here. We'll see that once we start up the bot. A little command ping, command say, and then you'll log in the bot into Discord. So we do say hello world. It'll say hello world, that'll be the response. So that's just showing you that you can, same way you use commands, you can use it here. And you can set up many commands like this, but you just have to make sure you first export the command so it can be ran properly, and you export the props here, or the bot won't run. If you have these two basic things in here, you won't have any issues. Later down the road, I will show you how to use aliases as well, which I'll probably talk about in the next episode, and more information that I can show you here. And events, you can do the same with events as you can here with commands. I'm not going to talk about that specific to this episode, but I will talk about that in the next episode as I talk about more events that you can use, and we'll start messing around with some more commands, since I think that's what you guys want to start seeing. Anyways, I'm probably going to add the rest of these commands into its own files and leave it as that. But anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, you may let me know by commenting down below what you liked, what you didn't like, what I can improve on. You can leave a like on the video. That lets me know that you're enjoying the series and, help show support, which I appreciate that very much. And you can subscribe and turn on post notifications to keep updated with my new videos, since I'm going to have a lot more videos coming out in the future. Lastly, I have a Discord server, like I plugged in the previous videos, where you can keep up with my bots, as well as my YouTube series. And if you want to get help with your code, any issue, with your Discord bot, or other projects you might be working on, you can go ahead and join the Nerd Cave Development Discord. The invite link will be on the screen, and it will be down in the description. And again, I really want to grow this Discord, build a real community, a nice solid community, and to see people helping each other out, because I think that's a good thing when all of us can help each other out and do really cool things. So I'm ending here, guys. Take care, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.